Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the 4th International Collaboration of Orthopaedic Nursing. We have many people who've travelled a very long distance here today, and you're all very welcome. I'd like to acknowledge the really hard work that the Danish Orthopaedic Nursing Society has put into organising today, and I think you'll all agree they've done an absolutely phenomenal job. So I hope everybody can really relax and enjoy the next 2 days. My name is Louise Brent. I'm the current chair of ICON. And in my day job back home in Ireland, I manage the Irish Hip Fracture Database and the Major Trauma Audit. I'm very keen to increase our following on Twitter. If anybody here is a budding Twitter user or isn't using Twitter yet, ICON have a Twitter handle, and I'd appreciate if you could all follow it and start sharing some of your pictures from this great Congress. I suppose the first thing I need to acknowledge is what a beautiful setting we're in. The city of Kolding is absolutely fabulous, and the weather has come out to make sure that we get the most out of our next 2 days. So I hope in the afternoons and in the evenings you take a few minutes to just have a little walk and enjoy some of the fabulous views in this gorgeous city. Just to tell you a little bit about ICON and where it all began, back in 2001, 3 orthopaedic nursing associations, NAON in the United States, KONA from Canada, and SOTON in the UK came together, and they realized we're all trying to do the same thing in different countries. Why don't we get together and start working together and sharing what we do? And ICON was formed. And we've come a long way since then. But I suppose the ethos behind ICON is to build and develop strategic nursing partnerships across countries, across jurisdictions, excel in evidence-based nursing, and support each other, as nurses usually do. So we've managed to grow a little bit since that time, and now we have 14 member associations representing 4 continents across the globe, and we're growing all the time. This is just some of the member organizations highlighted here. We've had 3 previous congresses like this one. The first one was actually hosted in Dublin, and I went along very, I suppose, much more junior than I am today, and I saw all these amazing nurses talking about wonderful work they were doing, and it's an absolute privilege to be standing here today as the chair of ICON. We then went to Vancouver in 2013 and Hong Kong in 2016, and we're obviously here all today in beautiful Denmark. So who knows what the future is going to hold. Much of the work that ICON does is across the likes of Skype, and for any of you who have been involved with any of our ICON calls on Skype, it can be quite a funny affair, because as more people join on, more people get kicked off, and we take about 20 minutes before we can get everybody on the call. And in more recent times, we've moved to use Globify, which just allows people to dial in from all around the world. And we do the majority of our work just like that, remotely, and it works very well. And then there are days like today or other international congresses where we all come together and have face-to-face meetings, and a lot of fun as well. And these are just some of the meetings from times gone by. Last night we had our face-to-face ICON meeting for 2019 here in the Cromwell Hotel. And I want you to pay particular attention to all the faces in that photograph, because these are the people I want you to all get to know throughout the next 2 days, because they're all leaders in their own associations and have done fantastic work. So it's important to acknowledge that everybody plays a role in the organization. We've been busy as well. ICON has published many papers in international journals. We've collaborated with other large groups like the Fragility Fracture Network, which is a multidisciplinary global group, and published many great articles, and most of these papers are free. That's one of our kind of missions, I suppose, is to make our papers, our education materials as accessible to everyone around the world. So we've done a lot of work to make sure that these papers are open access and easy to get to. I mentioned already that we collaborate with other international organizations because nurses, you know, as an organization, we work very well together, but it's important to remember that we work with lots of other disciplines too. And I know nurses particularly do this very well, but we have built very strong alliances with the Fragility Fracture Network I mentioned, with EFORT, with the National Association of Gerontological Nurses, and NICH in the US. And I'm sure we'll build many, many more collaborations into the future. I suppose on the note of collaborating, the FFN has been probably one of our strongest alliances, and it has enabled us to be part of some very exciting projects. And you're going to hear a little bit more today about a particular project that led to the publication of a wonderful book, Fragility Fracture Nursing, which again is an open access resource. It's an education tool, and I'm not going to spoil the presentations that are to come later today, but it's an absolutely fabulous resource that's available to everybody, and what we want to see is more and more people downloading this and sharing this. So now to the work ahead over the next 2 days. I'm sure you've already started to have a look in your welcome packs and seen the beautiful program that's been put together by the organisation committee. They have put together an absolutely phenomenal program over the next 2 days, and I hope everybody makes the most of it and gets involved. I'd like to particularly acknowledge the work of the scientific committee, who read an awful lot of abstracts and decided who got to poster presentations, who got to give oral presentations, and they made sure that the program was as diverse and as inclusive as possible, and they've done an absolutely wonderful job. So just a particular nod of thanks to that group. So I have a bit of homework for everybody, and that is, make the most out of the networking at these conferences. It's great to go to the presentations and learn lots from them, but the most, I think, beneficial thing about coming together like this and meeting nurses from all over the world is building friendships that go beyond the Congress, where we can all keep in touch, meet up again, and I've developed many great friends and professional colleagues from doing this. So I would love if everybody could go away from this conference with at least 3 or 4 new contacts that they're going to make contact with after the Congress and keep the work going. And we've already started. Yesterday, many of you took part in site visits to the hospitals nearby here in Kolding. And in the afternoon, we went to visit the Danish Nursing Museum, which was absolutely fantastic. We learned loads from that. So don't be shy, make friends, and have a lot of fun at this conference. And I suppose the key thing to remember is why we're doing all of this, why we all became nurses in the first place. It's for the patients. And Virginia Henderson said it very well when she said, nurses doing what patients themselves would have done if they could in order to recover or promote their own state of health. Nowadays, the aim is to encourage patients to make their own decisions regarding their state of health. And you're going to hear lots of presentations in the program about patient empowerment, listening to the voice of the patient and the importance that plays in their recovery and their outcomes on their patient journeys across all areas of healthcare. So I'd like to thank you all for being on time. Nurses are great, they're always on time and sitting in your seats and ready so we could start right on time. So thank you all for that. If anybody wants to contact me directly, my number and my email are available, and I'm very happy to be contacted about anything at any time, so please do. I took a lovely photograph of the old crutches in the Nursing Museum yesterday. So I'm going to hand you over now to Suzanne, who is the chair of the Danish Orthopaedic Nurses Association. And thank you all again.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Susanne Jung, and I'm the chair of the FSOS, the Danish Orthopedic Nurse Collaboration Society. And on behalf of the FSOS board, I'm very happy, pleased, and honored to welcome all of you. Thank you for ICON for trusting us organizing this ICON conference. In 2011, FSOS joined the ICON collaboration, and at that time, none of us were dreaming of having the ICON conference coming to Denmark. But being a part of an international collaboration helps to dream bigger, wilder, and out of the comfort zone. And suddenly, we had applied for the conference, and then the hard work began. Through the process of arranging the conference, we needed help and advice, and 1,000 thanks to all of you who always stepped in very quickly when needed. We believe that the orthopedic nurses all around the world have a lot in common, a lot to learn from each other, and a lot to share. And that is why the title of the conference is Orthopedic Nurses Walk the Line Across Borders. We are today 195 participants coming from 11 countries. Not all of us has English as our first language, but we have all an orthopedic nurse heart beating. So that will help us communicate with each other. So please mix, as also Louise said, and make good networking. And I'm sure you will experience a lot of new nursing stuff. We have tried to set up a program with insight into many angles of the orthopedic nursing. And we want to thank all the speakers for coming.